The British Royal Guard is known for its unwavering discipline. They stand motionless, indifferent to the crowds, transmitting a silent authority that few dare to challenge. But what happens when someone crosses the line? The tourist takes a step back, eyes wide open. The crowd's laughter turns into silence. That was the moment he realized the Royal Guard is not just a tourist attraction, and that his mistake could have cost him dearly. In the next few minutes, you'll witness real-life situations where reckless tourists crossed the line and received responses they will never forget. From authoritative shouts to humiliating expulsions, these guards showed that, when necessary, they can act with relentless firmness. And here's the question: did the guards overreact, or did the tourists go too far? Watch until the end and decide for yourself. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos about the Royal Guard. The British Royal Guard is not just a symbol of the monarchy. They are soldiers trained to protect the royal family at all costs. Their duty goes far beyond posing for photos or standing still in front of the palaces. And, like any military force, they follow a strict code of conduct. These soldiers undergo exhaustive training to maintain an impeccable posture, no matter the circumstances. Whether it's hot or cold, or a crowd surrounding them, they cannot react to provocations or distractions. But that doesn't mean they're defenseless. There are moments when they can, and must, act firmly. Cut to a video of a guard marching with precision, followed by an authoritative shout to move an inattentive tourist away. According to the official rules, guards should only move in specific cases: when someone invades their security space, if they are touched without consent, if the path is obstructed during their march, and when they act, there's no room for subtlety. A firm command, a determined push, or even the slam of their rifle on the ground are common measures to restore order. Most tourists respect these rules, but there are always those who ignore them and pay the price. The crowd was excited, cameras raised, smiles on their faces. Amid the group, a tourist decided to test the Royal Guard's limits. With a careless gesture, he approached too closely and, without thinking, touched one of the guard's shoulders. For a split second, nothing happened. The guard remained motionless, eyes fixed on the horizon. But then, with a swift and calculated movement, he slammed his rifle against the ground and shouted, "Stand back!" The tourist immediately recoiled, his face going from amusement to shock. The crowd fell silent, and the guard's authority became evident. This was a brutal reminder. The Royal Guard is not there for entertainment. They are elite soldiers, and touching them is one of the greatest violations of the rules. And that was just the beginning. In the next moment, a simple selfie request turned into a humiliating experience. It was a busy day at Buckingham Palace, and a group of friends was trying to capture the perfect picture. One of them had an idea: get really close to the guard and pose for a selfie. He positioned himself next to the soldier, raised his phone, and smiled. But the guard wasn't in the mood for jokes. Before the photo could be taken, he spun around quickly and shouted, "Do not touch the guard." The tourist froze. The soldier's tone was cold and authoritative, and the shock was immediate. He tried to laugh it off, but the crowd around him realized this was no joke. The lesson was clear. The Royal Guard is not an accessory for photos. They are there to protect, not to pose for selfies. But while this tourist only had a scare, the next case was even more intense, with a shout that made the entire crowd fall silent. In front of the Tower of London, a group of tourists decided to test the limits. They began laughing, making jokes, and mocking the seriousness of the guards. One of them even tried to mimic the soldiers' military march. The guard remained impassive for a moment, but when the tourist got too close, the response came. "Make way!" The shout echoed through the courtyard. It was so loud and unexpected that everyone around fell into absolute silence. The tourist, who had been laughing moments before, turned pale. He took a step back, realizing he had gone too far. This moment showed how the Royal Guard maintains order without even needing physical contact. Only takes a command to restore discipline. But the next case was even more severe. A tourist learned the hard way that the Royal Guard never stops marching for anyone. The scene took place in front of Windsor Castle. A distracted tourist was taking pictures and, without realizing it, stepped directly into the path of a group of marching guards. The crowd watched curiously. The guards did not swerve. nor did they slow their pace. And then, without hesitation, one of the soldiers pushed the tourist aside. The impact was enough to make him stumble and fall onto the ground. The shock was visible on his face, but the guards continued their march, indifferent to what had just happened. The reaction was divided. Some thought the move was extreme, while others remembered that the guards always have the right of way. If someone steps in their path, they simply push past. But if that push seemed severe, the next case was the most extreme of all. A tourist broke so many rules that he was humiliatedly escorted out of the premises. This was the most dramatic case on our list. A drunk tourist decided it would be funny to imitate the guards, marching alongside them and shouting nonsense. At first, the soldiers ignored him, but as he became more persistent and invasive, patience ran out. Suddenly, one of the guards turned sharply, pointed his weapon downward, and shouted, "Leave now!" The crowd held its breath. The tourist, now frightened, tried to argue, but at that moment, a security officer was already approaching. He was escorted out, under the disdainful stares of other visitors. This was the definitive proof that the Royal Guard does not tolerate disrespect. They are professional soldiers, and crossing the line can lead to serious consequences. After witnessing these intense moments, the question remains: did the Royal Guard overreact, or are they just doing their duty? Many tourists underestimate the seriousness of these soldiers. They are not actors in a theme park. They are elite members of the British military, trained to protect historical sites and even the royal family itself. Every reaction we saw in this video didn't happen by chance. Every command, every shout, and even the pushes are part of a strict protocol. The goal is not to intimidate visitors, but to ensure safety and order. On the other hand, some people believe these soldiers could be more flexible. After all, many tourists simply don't know the rules and don't intend to disrespect them. But the truth is that military traditions are non-negotiable. Anyone visiting these sites needs to respect the rules, or they may end up becoming the star of the next viral video on the internet. And now, we want to know your opinion. Do you think the Royal Guard acts correctly, or are they too rigid? Leave your comment below and share this video with your friends. And don't forget, if you like the content, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.